Let's just dive right into this, okay? Have you ever stopped to actually question that traditional timeline we've all been sold? You know the drill. You work incredibly hard for 40 years, you save whatever you possibly can, and then finally, maybe, you start enjoying your life and your time when you hit 65. But what if we could radically rewrite that script? What if you could buy back your time right now? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the blueprint found in Grant Sabatier's Financial Freedom. We are going to build a roadmap that gets you out of that daily grind and into a life where work is an option, not a mandatory obligation.
So here is our step-by-step agenda for today. First up, defining your freedom number. Second, mastering honest accounting. Third, we'll look at maximizing your time and income. Fourth is intentional value-based spending. And finally, number 5, building your investment engine. Let's get to it. All right, starting off with section 1, defining your freedom number. Because look, before we can even think about building your financial engine, we have to know exactly where we're driving, right? We need to know what freedom actually costs.
So, what does retirement really mean to you? For the longest time, it basically meant a full stop, right? Like literally the end of your productive years. But Sabatier challenges us to totally reframe this. Retirement isn't about just stopping work forever. It's actually about structuring your life so that work becomes completely optional. You're driven by meaning rather than, the desperate necessity to just pay the bills.
And that brings us to your personal freedom number, or PFN. This is what converts a fuzzy wish, like saying, oh, I want more time, into a precise, calculated target. And honestly, clarity is incredibly liberating. Once you convert that desire into an exact number, your anxiety just plummets. Why? Well, because suddenly, every single life trade-off becomes measurable. You finally stop that perpetual cycle of saying, just one more year, because you actually know exactly where your finish line is.
Now, the magic number to get there is 25x. The math here is actually surprisingly simple, and it's based on the famous 4% rule. Basically, if you invest your money in a diversified portfolio, you can safely withdraw 4% each year. So, you just take your ideal annual spending and you multiply it by 25.
Let's make this totally actionable. Seriously, you could do this in a 30-minute exercise right after you finish this explainer. Step 1, estimate your comfortable annual spend for when you're totally free. Step 2, multiply that number by 25. Boom, that's your personal freedom number. Then, step 3, figure out your current net worth and map it against that PFN. This tells you exactly what percentage of the way there you actually are. So, to put that into perspective, if you need $80,000 a year to live happily, your PFN is $2 million. If you already have $500,000 saved, well, you're 25% of the way there. Seeing the math laid out like that just makes the whole thing incredibly real. Okay, moving right along to section 2, mastering honest accounting. This is basically the reality check phase. This is where accurate measurement becomes your absolute greatest weapon for building wealth.
As the saying goes, accurate measurement beats motivation. I mean, feeling inspired to save is great and all, but knowing exactly where your net worth stands every single month, that is infinitely more powerful. Net worth really is the ultimate gauge of your financial health simply because it integrates the whole shebang. We're talking about what you earn, what you spend, what you invest, and what you owe.
So to track this, Sabatier recommends creating a really ruthless, one-page monthly snapshot that covers these 4 specific levers. You've got income after tax, savings rate, investment returns, and debt paydown. Understanding which of these is actually moving the needle is an absolute game changer. It helps you put your effort in exactly the right place. For example, let's say you negotiate a raise that substantially increases your take-home pay, and then you save 50% of that increase. That is going to skyrocket your net worth far, far faster than just agonizing over cutting out a $5 coffee here and there.
All right, section 3, maximizing time and income. Now that we're meticulously tracking everything, it's time to hit the gas and accelerate your progress. And we do that by focusing on literally the most valuable asset you have, your time.
Think about it like this. You have 24 hours in a day, and it's split between necessary activities, paid work, and discretionary time. The entire goal behind financial independence is ultimately to grow that discretionary time slice. So, Sabatier challenges you to do this. Find a way to reduce your paid work by just 10% over the next 6 months. By reclaiming those hours, whether you're delegating, automating, or just cutting out low-value tasks entirely, you free up massive amounts of mental energy for high-leverage skill building.
But what do you actually do with all that reclaimed time? Well, you diversify. Looking at the income matrix, we can compare earned, which is active income, portfolio, which is passive income, and scalable business income. Because honestly, relying on just a single income stream these days, it's incredibly risky. Diversifying across these different types provides you with massive optionality. You basically start productizing your time.
You transition from just trading your hours for dollars to actually building scalable models, like digital products or even your own business.
But hey, you have to do this smartly. Don't just go out and quit your day job and risk the whole thing. Instead, use this 90-day income experiment funnel. On day 1, you brainstorm your idea and create a prototype. By day 30, you've put up a really lightweight landing page. And by day 90, you absolutely need a clear revenue signal before you even think about scaling. It's a fantastic micro-tool strategy to validate those side businesses completely safely. You get to test things out without sinking major capital or literally years of your life into an unproven idea.
Okay, let's pivot to Section 4, intentional value-based spending. While you're aggressively accelerating your income on offense, we also need to play a little defense. This is all about keeping way more of what you earn, but crucially, doing it without making yourself totally miserable. I see a scarcity mindset views frugality as this painful deprivation, just miserable, stressful penny pinching. But a value-based mindset, now that is a whole different ballgame. That's about maximizing your spending on the things that bring you disproportionate joy, and ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, cutting the rest. At the end of the day, financial freedom isn't about never spending a dime. It's about spending your dimes highly intentionally. So I highly recommend trying this 45-minute value audit. Pull up your last 3 months of expenses and just tag every single recurring expense as high, medium, or low value. Then immediately cancel 2 of those low-value items. For sure, just getting rid of them. For example, simply canceling a small, unused monthly subscription and investing that money over 20 years, that yields a massive long-term boost for absolutely zero short-term pain. You have to stop that silent erosion of your savings rate, and you can start today.
And that brings us to Section 5, building your investment engine. This is really the maintenance phase. This is where we take all those hard-earned, intentional savings and transform them into an absolute compounding wealth machine.
Listen, investing really shouldn't be dramatic. You shouldn't be stressing out, day trading, or panicking over every single news cycle. It should be boring, simple, automated, low-cost, diversified index funds. You set up rule-based rebalancing and essentially becomes this quiet, tax-optimized engine just humming along in the background. It leverages the incredible power of compounding over decades, and you literally don't even have to lift a finger.
Now, having said that, even the best engine in the world needs some protection. So Sabatier outlines these crucial resilience guardrails. First, you need an emergency fund, but one that is tailored to your specific job risk. Second, you definitely need essential insurance, but please, not over-insurance that just eats away at your investment capital. Third, you've got to do an annual net worth review. And finally, you need a contingency ladder, basically a 5-step fallback plan in case your income suddenly drops. Implementing these guardrails ensures that one single bad life event doesn't completely derail decades of your disciplined compounding.
All right, let's bring this all together. Here is your ultimate freedom checklist, and you can start acting on this literally this week. First, compute your personal freedom number. Next, create your net worth snapshot and make sure you track it every single month. Then, map out your time budget. After that, audit your spending and cut out those low-value drains. Automate your simple index fund investments, and finally, start prototyping your freedom.
Which actually brings us to our final thought for today. Remember, your PFN is just a tool. It's not the actual end point. You should be running retirement rehearsals right now, even while you are still working. Ask yourself, what is going to be your very first post-PFN life project? Are you going to mentor? Maybe travel the world? Start a nonprofit? Seriously, don't wait until you hit your magic number to try and figure out who you are without your job. Start prototyping your ideal life right now, today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.